The Nashville number system can be quite confusing and intimidating to learn. And as a guitar player, you might be wondering, how the heck does this even apply to my guitar playing? And how do I even use it? 6, 5, 3, 4. Again. Flat 7. To the word. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Nashville number system and understand it using my brand new friend, Cordi. Well, hey everyone, my name is Jama Maktabe, and I'm a session touring musician, a music producer, and a music director from Sydney, Australia, and I'm now living here in the United States of America. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guitar players how to understand the Nashville number system as easy as I can and understand it well, using the Cordi. Now, what is the Cordi? The Cordi is a brand new, easy to use, simple tool that is physical, and it comes in 2 different colors, and it shows you how to identify your chords using the Nashville number system. And it comes with a really cool spin wheel that shows you all the different chord progressions and numbers in all 15 keys using the circle of fifths. And if you turn Cordi around, it comes with different chord progressions that have different moods. So if you want to practice your numbers and how to use them, you can see all these different chord progressions and the different moods they sound like when you play them. So what is the Nashville number system and how do we primarily use it? Well, there's a handful of really useful ways to use the Nashville number system, but the main way we use the number system is to create different chord progressions in songs. That's right, every song you pretty much listen to or play has a different chord progression, and instead of using different letters to identify which chords to play in the progression, it's easier to just use numbers to identify the chord progression you're playing and listening to, because if you were to change the key of the song, you can play that exact same chord progression and it's going to sound the same, just in a different key. So in order to use the Nashville number system and use it well, you need to understand 4 different things: the musical alphabet, the major scale, intervals, and harmony. Let's start off with what the musical alphabet is. Well, if you can speak English and you've been writing English your whole life, you'll know that the English alphabet is from A to Z, or Z, depending what country you're from. But in the musical alphabet, it's just from A to G, right? Ignore the sharps and flats. We just have 7 letters in the musical alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. As written here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, I want you to remember that there are 7 letters. And also, I want to encourage you to use your fingers, because your fingers are going to be a huge help for you to memorize your Nashville number system. So just remember, the musical alphabet is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, what's so cool about the musical alphabet is that it just goes in a loop. So if I go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it's going to end going back to A again. If I start on B, it's going to go B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And if I start from C, C is 1, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Back to 1 again. D, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, back to G, right? It's just a continuous loop that goes with 7 numbers over and over again. So if you start at A and you end in G, that's going to be 7, you go back to A. So that's the musical alphabet. The next thing you need to understand is the major scale. First of all, we need to understand what a scale is. And a scale is just a sequence of notes that are played in an octave. So in this case, the major scale, we have 7 different notes that are being played in a sequence. And the major scale sounds like this. Right? I can play that anywhere on the neck. And I can go up an octave with it. And another octave. That is what the major scale sounds like. It definitely sounds different from the minor scale. Now, instead of identifying what I'm playing by what letters I'm playing, I want you to listen to what the major scale sounds like. because that is the scale that helps us determine whether a chord is going to be a major chord or a minor chord, and it helps us identify what intervals and harmony are. So the next thing to understand is an interval. What is an interval? Well, an interval is just the distance between two notes. So if I played the major scale, right, and I counted in numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it goes back to 1, just in a higher octave. 1. What is an octave? An octave is just the same note played in an upper or lower pitch. Same note, same note, same note, just higher and lower. An interval is very important because that is the building blocks of how I'm going to play different harmonies. So for example, if my first note is A, which is note number 1, I need to find my third note in that scale to help me figure out my next harmony. So I just count 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's my third interval. Now, if I need to find my fifth interval, I'll just go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my fifth. So if I play my first interval, 1, my third interval, 3, and my fifth interval, 5, I have made an A major triad. So those are what intervals are, and intervals teach us harmony. What is harmony? Well, harmony is just two or more notes being played together. So like I just showed you just then when I played those three notes, that is what you call an A triad, or a triad in general, 1, 3, 5. A dyad is two notes being played together in harmony, so my first interval and my third interval, that's a dyad. And a triad is just three notes being played together at the same time. So those are 4 basic things you need to understand when it comes to understanding the Nashville number system and how to understand it well. If you got a little bit confused, it's okay. You can pause this video and rewind to go back from the start when I explain. So now that I spoke about those 4 fundamental things, let me talk about the Nashville number system and how it works. So I'm going to change my wheel now to the key of C. Everything I'm about to teach you is all in the major scale using the major key. And I'm going to teach you how to use the Nashville number system using key of C major because there's no sharps or flats in C. Just to remind you, the musical alphabet, it goes in a continuous loop. So if I start on A and I go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it goes back to A. Now that I'm showing you in C, everything is going to go from C, D, E, F, G, A, B, back to C as 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the Nashville number system is used in the context of chords and chord progression. And the basic rule of thumb is this. Chord number 1, 4, and 5 are your major chords. So in the key of C, C, F, and G are all major. C major, F major, G major. And chords 2, 3, and 6 are your minor chords. So in this case, D minor, E minor, and A minor. What's so cool about Cordi is that you can see in your numbers, in the Roman numerals, the lowercase numbers are your minor chords and your uppercase letters are in your major chords. And it's important to know that because when you're writing a sheet of music or when you receive a sheet of music that is in Roman numerals, you'll be able to identify which is a major chord and which is a minor chord. Now, chord number 7 is a diminished chord, and that is really interesting because a diminished chord is a diminished triad. And remember how I told you about what intervals do? In order to identify what a major and a minor triad sound like, the pattern of the major triad is 1, 3, 5, as you can see here on Cordi, 1, 3, 5. A minor triad is actually 1 flat 3, 5. So you take the third interval and you flatten it 1, and then you leave the fifth interval where it is. A diminished triad is an interval that starts on 1, you flatten the third interval, and you flatten the fifth interval by 1. That is a diminished triad. That's just in case you're wondering what diminished sounds like. Everything about this is all about listening. So just a reminder, chords 1, 4, and 5 are major, chords 2, 3, and 6 are minor, and chord 7, if you ever see it, is a diminished chord. So how do I identify this in the key of C? Well, Disregard the letters and let's focus on numbers. So you want to be using your ears and your numbers to identify this. And you can also use your fingers. So let's start off with our major chords in the Nashville Number System. So if someone says, hey, can you play a 1, 4, 5 chord progression? I can see in Cordi it's showing me, okay, chord number 1 is in the key of C, is a C chord. So that's my 1 chord. My 4 chord is F major. And my 5 chord is G major. So that's 1, 4, 5, 1. Again. If I didn't have this on me, I can just use my fingers and count the musical alphabet. Okay, 1, 4, 5. 1 is C, 4 is C, D, E, F, F major, because 4 is a major chord, and then 5 is G major, C, D, E, F, and then G is 5. So that's my 1, 4, 5. 1, 4, 5. Cordi clearly shows us where our major chords are, what chords to play in the key that you're on, and how to identify if it's a major or minor chord. So now if there was a different chord progression, they say, hey, we're in the key of C, can we play 1, 6, 4, 5? Okay, my 1 chord is C major, knowing that the 1 is a major chord. Chord number 6 is a minor chord, so let me find where my 6th minor is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, my 6th minor in the key of C is A minor. And then 4 and 5 is F major, G major. 1, 6, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 6, 4, 5. And on the 1 chord is always going to be the first chord of the key that I'm on. So if I'm in the key of C, 1 is always going to be C. So now they'll be like, hey, can we play 1, 6, 2, 5 chord progression? Okay, Cordi is showing me this is my 1. 1 is a major chord, so C major. 1, 6 is A minor, that's my 6th chord. 2, knowing that 2, 3, and 6 are minor chords. My 2 chord is D minor in the key of C. And my 5 chord is major, so that's going to be G major. So, okay, that sounds like this. 1, 6, 2, 5. There it is. I am using chord progressions using the Nashville Number System. I don't have to say the letters. I just have to say their numbers. So if I do 1, 4, 5 again, that's what 1, 4, 5 sounds like. So now let me show you the power of using the Nashville Number System when it comes to transposing a chord progression in a different key. So let's put ourselves in this scenario. You're working with a singer who's a live performer, whether you're at a live gig or you're in the studio or it's your worship leader at church, and they say, hey, can we change this song that has the chord progression in 1, 6, 4, 5 from the key of C to the key of D flat? So it's like, oh, how am I going to do that? Instead of scrambling for my letters and trying to figure that out. We know that 1, 6, 4, 5 sounds like this, right? In the key of C. Now let me transpose that to D flat. So with Cordi, we can see over here, if we get a piece of paper, we know that 1, 6, 4, 5 in the key of C, if we were to write that down, is key of C is 1, and then lowercase is 6, 4, 5. In key of C, that is C, and then that is A minor. That 4 is F major, and then 5 is G. Now, in D flat, let's find that out. So we take our Cordi, we spin the wheel, get to D flat. Okay, here is D flat major, and in 1, 6, 4, 5, right? Okay, 1 is D flat major. We know that's D flat. Okay. What is my 6? Okay, B flat minor. B flat minor. Okay, that's my B flat minor. My 4, okay, is G flat major. And then my 5 is A flat. Okay, so now here's 1, 6, 4, 5 in C. In D flat. Okay, here's my 1, D flat. Okay, here we go. Here's my 1, my 6, 4, and my 5. Same chord progression, just in a different key. Okay, let me play 1, 6, 4, 5 in the key of E. Okay, that's my 1, key of E. That's my 6. That's my 4. That's my 5. 6, 4, 5. Let me play that in the key of B. That's my 1, 6, 4, 5. That is the magic of the Nashville Number System. And Cordi helps us identify the Nashville Number System super easy using this simple but effective system, using the spin wheel with the circle of fifths. And also, for you to practice your Nashville Number Systems, I love how they included different chord progressions with the different moods of how they feel with the Cordi. The next thing I want to show you how to use the Nashville Number System with is identifying slash chord. And a slash chord is where you play a chord with a different bass note. For example, C over G, D over G, D over F sharp. And those are chords where if you are playing, say, a D major chord, and you play it with a G bass note on top of it, or a D chord with an F sharp bass note over it, those are what we call our slash chords or combo chords. And a slash chord is quite confusing on guitar because you play the bottom chord first and then you hit the string over it, so it looks like it should be G over D, but really it's D over G. And the way that we identify our slash chords on the Nashville Number System is we identify them with the numbers. So for example, we're in the key of D, and I'm going to show you the key of D on guitar because it's super easy to create slash chords in D. So if I want to play D over F sharp or D over G, it starts by my first chord, so I'm going to play 1. And then my F sharp is 3, so I'm going to play 1 over 3. So if I need to create a chord progression in the key of D, right? So if I'm writing in the key of D, and I need to do 6, okay, a 6 chord progression, 4, 1, and then 1/3, that would be, okay, my 6 is, that would be my 6 is B minor, so B minor. My 4 chord will be G major. My 1 chord is D, right? And then 1/3, it's, okay, my 1 goes over the 3, which is my F sharp. So that is now D over F sharp. Thankfully, the Cordi is here, so I can easily identify what my slash chords are. So 1/3 is D over F sharp. So that's my 1/3. So this chord progression, 6, 4, 1, 1/3 sounds like this. All right, 6, 4, 1, 1/3. 6, 4, 4, 1, 1 over 3. Now if I want to play something like, oh okay, I want to play 5 over 7, so I will play A over C sharp, 5 over 7. So that's how we identify our slash chords. We take a look at what chord is first on the left side of the slash. In this case, it's our first number. So if we want to play 4 over 6 or 4 over 5, we can see what our first number is and then our second number is. So 4 over 5, if I play G over A, it's like this. There's G, G over A. Back to the 1. 1, 4, 5, 6, and then 4 over 5. And that's how we use the Nashville number system to identify our slash chords. So for you guitar players, what is something to practice and apply to your guitar playing after you watch this video? Well, if you don't know the major scale, I suggest that you practice the major scale on your guitar. Just noodle around with it and you get familiar with how that sounds. So even in different octaves. Because that is the basis of how you're going to start soloing effectively, and also getting your ear trained to what the major key sounds like, also identifying different harmonies. All with the major scale. And also it applies to the minor scale too. Because when you land on the major scale and hit interval number 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, when you get to your 6th interval, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is your minor scale right there. In this case, E minor. So get familiar with the major scale. And also practice just different chord progressions using your fingers, right? If I'm in the key of G, okay, G, 1, 4, 5 and G, G, A, B, C, C major is 4, and then G, A, B, C, D, D major is 5. And then transpose that to C. Okay, C is 1, C, D, E, F. Okay, F major is 4, and then 5 major is G major. Back to the 1, and then you can add a minor 6 or a minor 2 in there just to spice things up. So if you're a songwriter, say I want to make a song with 1, 2, 6, 5. Okay, here's 1, 2, 6, 5. Simple basic exercises like that, and repetition like that will help you understand the Nashville system even more. So as you can see, Cordi is such an incredible tool to help us identify what our minor chords and our major chords are, if we need to find what our triads are, if we are trying to find what our slash chords are. For example, 1 over 3, we can see this is our 1, that is our 3, and we play them together. And so many other things. And the fact that you can see all your different chord progressions and what they sound like and that you can experiment with, that is such a super cool tool to use in learning your Nashville numbers. So that concludes my video, and I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, check out my YouTube channel, and learn the Nashville number system with me alongside the wonderful Cordi. Now, if you're someone who wants to get a Cordi for yourself, or if you're a musician and wants to get this for your band members, or if you're a music educator and you want to get this for your students so they can learn their numbers and their scale degrees, their major and minor chords, their different triads, their harmonies, and different chord progressions, or if you're a worship leader and you want to get this for your members in your worship team, and you guys want to transition out from using chord letters into chord numbers, so when those spontaneous moments come during a worship set happen, I have a discount code for a Cordi, which is GEM20, and insert this at the checkout at Chordi.com so you get a 20% discount off a Cordi. If you want to see more of what I get up to with my music, feel free to check out my website at www.jamalmaxbaymusic.com. And if you want to see my Line 6 Helix and HX Stomp presets, they are available at multitracks.com. And feel free to follow me on social media at JemmyJems_. Until then, have yourself an amazing day. Peace out and stay blessed.